Hi everyone! Welcome to the second video of our series about typography. You've arrived to the part where you'll have to make some decisions and ultimately choose a font. This can be a very overwhelming experience, but it doesn't have to be. So I'll walk you through some steps you can take that in the end will give you the perfect font. Or fonts, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Step 1 is font psychology. We touched on this subject a little bit before in the previous video, but it is well documented that fonts have the power to evoke emotions that will be associated with your site and ultimately with your brand. So the first step is not only to figure out what kind of feelings you want the visitors to feel, but to understand which fonts will help you achieve exactly that. Without going too deep into it, here are some font types and the corresponding characteristics. For example, handwritten fonts are considered personal and fancy, while serif fonts are considered traditional, respectable, and reliable. After digging more into font psychology, you should be able to reduce your search to, for example, sans serif fonts, if you want to give the feeling of stability and minimalism, for example. Step 2 is choosing a typeface. One of the biggest parts when choosing a font is choosing the typeface, because there are so many to choose from. So when starting to look for a typeface, these are the things to think about to help narrow it down. The first thing to think about is the number of fonts in a typeface. If a typeface has a good amount of styles, you'll have a lot of flexibility there. The second is whether you'll use a free font. If so, Google Fonts is an awesome option because it gives you more than 800 typefaces to choose from. If you've decided to pay for a font, it's a good option if you want to find something that is not so common and unique. For that, fonts.com is a great option. Last but not least, you can also create your own custom font that will be 100% unique and will really help with brand recognition. Netflix, for example, have created their own fonts, which is called Netflix Font. To create your own font, you can use a platform like FontStruct, where you can create and share your fonts. Step 2.5 is save fonts. I didn't think that this really needs a step on its own, so this will be like an addition to the previous one. Each device comes with its own pre-installed font selection, so it will be a real shame if you've created your own custom font, put in time and effort, and there would be devices that don't even see it. So there are some fonts that are considered safe because they're visible to most devices. Those are fonts like Arial, Helvetica, Times New Roman, Times, and more. So this is just something to keep in mind, but most times you'll be good to go with any font you choose. Step 3 is headings and font pairing. If you've got your typeface already, the next step is to think about how many fonts you'll actually need. It is common to use at least 2 or 1 for each heading. So to give a bit more details, heading 1 is commonly used for page title, and there should be only one heading like this. So that's where you can get creative and use a lot of decorative and interesting fonts. Heading 2 and 3 will usually be used for page sections, so to indicate different topics. So that is where bigger and bolder text will be used. Heading 4 and up will be lower in the section hierarchy. And let's not forget paragraph. That has to be something that is really easy to read. So now that we know that we will need more than one font, how to choose 2 or more that will look good together. So here are some tips that will help you with font combining. First is to try and look for some similarities in the fonts, like some features, ornaments, something that can bring them together visually. A good tip is to assign a role to each font so they are consistent in the page layout. One can be for all the headers, one can be for paragraph text. It will really help with the hierarchy. Pair decorative fonts with more neutral fonts. If you choose 2 extremely extravagant fonts, it will make the readability of your page a lot worse. Reserve the decorative fonts for titles and headers, but use something simple for the body text. Look for fonts by the same author. It is common that an author will create fonts with a similar style. And you can always use multiple fonts from the same typeface, because by default, they have the same style. So bold for headers and regular for body, for example. All right, all these 3.5 steps should really help you choosing a font quick and simple, or at least help you narrow down the options. And I hope that at this point you are ready to take some action, because in the next and last video of the series, I'll show you how to change fonts in WordPress. So thank you all for watching and see you on the next one.